Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
How you doing? You good?
Just a little tired.
Talk truth. You never.
Say again, sir?
You didn't get caught in the traffic.
Oh, no.
Okay. Asia, how you stay? You went to work today? Asia? No. It's just you want Venica, you went to work. Venica, you still got to work?
Yes, sir, I'm traffic.
You were there today?
Sorry?
You're at work today?
Yes, sir, I'm driving to go home.
Oh, okay. How the road stay though? Trafficy?
Yes, sir, traffic. Well, yesterday was worse. Or probably it's because I tried to leave out a little bit earlier today because I kind of have an emergency. So I'm trying to reach home ASAP.
Okay. Aye. Never mind, yeah. It's just hopefully tomorrow will be better. 305, 305, 375. That's what I did. 305, 375. All right, I'm just waiting on the others to come. There are 4 of us.
Jesus. Jesus.
So I am actually in commute. I have not yet started the driving process, but I'm actually in commute, and I'm just hoping and praying that the traffic is not that bad. When I was leaving out, it was awful, and I'm just hoping that a lot of people would have, most of the traffic would have gone off. But it is what it is. We will get there. How many of you were able to look through the notes that was sent?
I didn't get a chance to start looking through it as yet, sir.
All right, no problem. All right,
So,
so
sir, if
what?
you go on the boulevard is filled with traffic.
You're on the boulevard now,
Yes.
and it's very trafficy.
Yes, sir. Well,
Oh,
yesterday I thought sister was worse, was way worse because it took me like almost was class start 5 and when class ended I was home as yet. So it took me like about 2 hours
2
and 30
hours.
to get home.
Whoa.
To get to Riddles and it was really bad.
I don't want, and that's where I'm going. I don't want that to happen to me. No. Oh my goodness gracious. Aye. We need more roads, or we need to know stop the. Let me ask you, as we wait for the arrival of some other students, do you think we should stop the importation of cars to alleviate some of the traffic congestions that we have? Or what should we do to alleviate it?
Sir, to stop the importation will hinder a lot of these importers, which will cause another strain, and then probably have more theft.
But how are we going to control the situation that we're having, the crisis that we're in now?
Well, they said that they're trying to improve the urban transit system, but I mean, how many people really want to wait on the buses?
Well, if I were to look at the United States, people do drive their cars to a bus station, park, and jump on a train or a bus to take them there because they save on gas, and transportation on the public buses is way much cheaper than to buy gas, and they go about their business. But what is the difference? They're reliable. So if they know that I'm leaving work,
Right.
I'm leaving work now at 5:41, I am 2 minutes away from the bus stop. The bus is coming at 5:45. I can now leave. It's not going to take me 4 minutes to walk to the bus stop. I'm literally, as I step out of my building, I'm literally right across the bus stop, and it's not going to take me any time to get there. And they go, and as sure as night turns today, the bus is going to be there at 5:45. And they can jump on the bus and they can go. So there is a shed. We don't have that here.
No.
But it is as environmentalists, we need to be very careful because all of these emissions are causing respiratory problems, contribution to global warming. It is, we are increasing the importation cost for crude oil. Our bills are going up more because, when it is that we have a demand, then, the cost goes up. When there's no demand, the cost goes down. So, as environmentalists, we need to look in what it is that we need to do to help to protect the environment. Because the truth is, you have a family of 4, and everybody in the family have one car. And sometimes, mommy works in New Kingston at one end, daddy works in New Kingston at the other end. The child goes to Excelsior Community College, and chances are when mommy or daddy goes to work, the car sits at work and not being driven until it's time to go home, as opposed to mommy drives to work, daddy takes over, drives himself to work, and then the child takes the car, go to school, goes back, picks up daddy, then picks up mommy, and then everybody go home and everybody have a good time. But everybody loves their independence. And we have to be very careful, or else we're going to run ourselves into a crisis, serious crisis. But anyhow, those are my few thoughts. You guys can think about it as you try to circumvent some of these things that we are going through. All right. I don't think anybody else is coming on for now. So let us see if we can begin. This is 15 minutes after, and it's an hour and a half class. So let me just share this document. I'm sharing the document that I shared with you last class, the frequency polygon the frequency table document. And I just want us to have a conversation on how to go about doing the calculation. So if you remember, what I asked you to do is, because I'm showing you the grown-up method now of calculating the median of, or even the mean and median. Remember, we talk about mode, mean, median. These are all known as the measures of central tendency. All right. So one of the things that we're trying to do is to understand, because we know how to calculate the mean, the mode, the median. When you go to high school, you get 5 numbers to calculate the mean. You add all numbers, divide by 5, and that's the mean. If you're calculating the median, you can arrange numbers in either in increasing order or decreasing order, and then you're going to look at the middle number. If you have an odd number of numbers, you just look at the dead one in the middle. If you have an even number of numbers, the 2 middle numbers will be averaged to give you a number, and that is going to be the median. So, and then of course the mode is going to be the one that occurs most frequently. You can have 0 mode, you can have 1 mode, you can have 2 modes, you can have any number of modes. Those are easy stuff, because that's CXC. Now that we're at environmental statistics, we are learning now how to calculate the measures of central tendency using the grown-up method. And just to recap, the grown-up method is, as you see it here, we have a set of data. It asks us to arrange the following data into a frequency table, distribution table. We need to distribute the table so it is that we can know what it is that we're talking about. We must remember the columns that we have. We're going to be having a class interval. Sir, how do we get the class interval? Don't worry about it. I will show you how to calculate the class interval sometime later. I'm not interested in teaching you how to do class intervals at this stage. What I'm interested in doing is to show you how to use a class interval to help you calculate the mean, the mode, and the median. All right, that's my aim. After we've done that and we master it, then we can go to decide how it is that we're going to be deciding what the class interval is supposed to be. Sometimes they tell you the class interval, sometimes they give it to you. Sometimes they tell you what the class interval is supposed to be, and you will have to come up with it. Or sometimes they just give you, most times they'll just give it to you, right? But whichever it is, not an issue. So in this particular case, you're given 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, 80 to 89, 90 to 99. Then one of the things that we're going to be doing is to find a midpoint of the class interval. Now, the first number in the class interval is the lower bound of the lower boundary. And the second number is the upper boundary. So you're going to be adding both the lower and the upper boundaries, getting the sum, dividing by 2, and that gives the midpoint. So 50 plus 59 is 109. 109 divided by 2 is 54.5. Similarly, 60 plus 69 is 129. 129 divided by 2 is 64. So forth and so on. So now that you have your midpoint, we now need to look at the tally. You know, Paz, do you ever go out into the field to collect data?
All right. So really and truly, what my work is to observe the weather phenomena. So I'm not at the climate branch now, so I don't really deal with like climatological data, but I just observe like if there is heavy showers, moderate showers, light showers, wind direction and speed. I'm out at the airport, so I don't deal with this data for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Venika, what do you do? If you can say. Venika not there? Asia, what do you do, hon? I'm trying to use, I'm trying to, sorry, I'll come into Asia. What I'm trying to do is to use what it is that you do in particular to see if I can draw parallel so that it comes up even closer to you. Go ahead, Asia.
Oh, it's Asia. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. No, I didn't know you heard what I was asking. So I was asking, what do you do at work?
I was just trying to unmute.
Okay, all right, go ahead, hon.
So what I do is I do audits and inspection as well as investigation. So it's really calculating stocks, inventories, and ensuring that regulations and rules are followed.
Okay. Asia.
Sir, I manage students' grades, develop class lists, manage teacher schedules, and so on.
All right. None of you can help me. Joking. All right. So I can look at. All right. Let us think of looking at a barometer, and we're going to be counting how many times the reading passes a particular point. What do you do? What do you think you do? You count and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then somebody says something to you and you remember, say, Jesus, where was I? Or do you use a counter and you count? You know, you press the counter and it gives you a tally. And at the end of the day now, you can go ahead and tally those numbers. What I'm trying to do is to get you to understand what tallying is. You know, I was once, well, not me, but my family once associated with the National Works Agency, the then Public Works Department before they became National Works Agency. And when they're developing roads, they will sometimes, you see them sometimes in their vehicles sitting and looking at counters. And each person, he makes it 4 or 5 of them. But I am looking at cars of a particular type. Somebody may be looking at SUVs of a particular type. So maybe not. And they're in the thing, and as one of the vehicles that passes them, that they are responsible for, they're pressing this counter. They're pressing this counter. They're pressing this counter. And at the end of the day, at the end of the period, so what they may do, they say, if they want to investigate the traffic use on Mountain View Avenue between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, because what they're trying to do now is maybe to put in, okay, I don't know if anybody know Harborview, that roundabout Harborview before you reach the airport. Well, Paz, you'll know that. That big roundabout is actually, I understand now, taking up a lot of time from people who are coming from the east. And the roundabout is just creating problems. So somebody said to me the other day, you know, they need to take it out and put in a stoplight. So you may have the Public Works Department or the National Works Agency may go there and they say, okay, fine, we need to investigate what is happening. And we need to do this over a 1-week period. So they may get down there from 6 o'clock and they may be using their information and counting just to see how many vehicles traverse that area between 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock peak hours. So they can decide, you know what? Way too many cars are using here. We really need to improve this roundabout. We are going to take out the roundabout and put in some stoplight. We have a big intersection, it may work better. So at least we're calculating some empirical data. There's a song that says, come Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana. Daylight come and me want go home. I'm going to ask you to just read the backstory of that song. Because of how warped our Jamaican minds, the Jamaican men minds are. You know, we are told that we can't sing the song, come Mr. Tallyman, come tally me my banana, because you're going to hear that something is wrong with you. But for the educated, tallying is a method of counting. So when I'm tallying, I am looking to see how many of the numbers that I have on screen falls between 50 and 59, and I recognize that there is just one. When I tally, I recognize that there are 7 numbers falling between 60 and 69, so forth and so on. And once I do my tally, I go ahead now and do my frequency. But sir, the frequency and the tallying gives you the same value. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And then now, what is going to happen is that I am going to be multiplying my frequency by my midpoint. My midpoint is X. So I'm multiplying the frequency by the midpoint, which is X. And when I do that, whatever I get for the midpoint, I'm going to be multiplying it by my frequency. And that is going to give me my F times X. People call it FX, but it's really my F times X. So 1 times 54.5 is 54.5. So forth and so on. And then I'm going to find the sum. When I find the sum of my 16 numbers, one of the things that I really want all of you to get in, because even if we get a chance just to calculate the mean, the mode, the median using our group data, I am good to go. Watch me. Watch this, the cursor. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So it is important to tally, so you know how many, the data set that you're working with. Because you can't collect 16 data set and then you're working your stuff with 15. Your data is going to be incorrect. Totally wrong. You're misinforming. All right? So when I check my frequency, I recognize that I'm at 16. So in order now for me to calculate the mean is going to be my frequency, the sum of my numbers, my 1,152, divided by my 16. And that gives me my estimated mean. Now, the estimated mean, as we calculated last time, is 72. But when we calculated actual mean, we got something like 71 point, I think it was like 71.6. Do me a favor. No, sorry, let us not do that again. You can do that on your own. But remember the last time when we calculated it, we got 71 point nothing, and if we rolled it off, you'd have got the 72. Anybody remember?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So that is our estimated mean. Now, this is where I want, that was just a recap. This is where I want us to go now. This is where I want us to go now for the median. What I also asked you to do towards the end of the class last week was to arrange your data in increasing order or decreasing order. To arrange your data either in increasing order or in decreasing order. In increasing order, decreasing order, your number, it doesn't matter which way you're going to do it. So when you would have arranged your numbers, you're going to be counting off so that you can find the middle term. If you have an even number of numbers, you will have to use those two terms and find the average of those two terms. If you have an odd number of numbers, that number that stands out, that standalone number, is going to be known as your median. That is when you are working with your raw data. When you're working with your raw data, that's what you do. However, when you're working with your grouped data, I want you to pay some special attention because we're going to be learning something new tonight. This is what it is that we're going to be doing. Let me pause. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, good job. Hold on. All right, so we're going to look for the n plus 1 term, and that is going to be divided by 2. Sir, n plus 1, n is a number of terms. N is a number of terms. The number of terms is n. You all did pre-calculus. Remember, when we're talking about the sum of terms, we talk about Sn, and Sn is equals to n over 2 times 2a plus n minus 1 times z, and we say that n is the last term, n is the number of terms. Anybody remember that from pre-cal?
Sound like sequence, sir.
It's the same sequence and series that we're learning, right? So it's the same n that you use in pre-calculus, the same n that you use in pre-calculus for the number of terms is the same n we're using here now for the statistics for the number of terms. All right? So we're looking at the n plus 1 divided by 2. You know that the value of n is 16. Sir, how you know that? Look back at your table and you see my frequency, the number of numbers that I have, amounted to 16. So it's going to be now 16 plus 1 over 2. My 16th term plus 1 is going to give me 17, and 17 divided by 2 is going to give me 8.5. So I now need to look at the 8.5 fifth term. All right? So that's the term that I'm going to be looking for. Hold on, 1 minute.
Sir, quick question. How you get the fifth term, the 8.5 term? That kind of sound confusing.
You can go back, go back through that part for me, sir. Please.
No problem. I'm happy to do that. What I'm saying to you is, so I'm looking at the n plus 1 term. I'm looking at the n plus 1 term. I know that the number of terms that I'm dealing with is 16. Do you agree with the number 16?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, and I'm adding 1 to 16. When I add 1 to 16, what do I get?
17.
17.
And when you divide 17 by 2, what do you get?
The 8.55.
All right, good. So you're putting right there now. So hear what it says. The median, remember, it's the median we're trying to calculate now, you know. The median is the mean of the 8th and the 9th term. Uh-oh. Why do you think the median is going to be the average or mean of the 8th and the 9th term? Let me see if you're thinking.
Because the 8.5 is in the middle of the 8 and the 9.
Excellent, Paz. Excellent. You're going to be an excellent climatologist. Because when you need to get your data from the airport, you should be able to do that excellently statistically. Yes, man. Because 8.5 lies between 8 and 9. So we know from this that we are going to be looking at the 8th and the 9th term, right? So the median is going to be the mean of the 8th and the 9th people in the 60 to 69 group. But I was hoping for somebody to say, what, sir? Let me reduce it so you can see the table and the thing at the same time.
Yes, sir. Actually, I try to look to see if I see that. But I'm not.
So I paused because I wanted somebody to say something. All right, so you can see the table and the write up now. Yes, no, maybe so.
Sir, I don't see it.
Is what we're looking for on the table.
I said the 8th and the 9th people.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the question. Arrange the following data in the frequency table below, in the frequency distribution table. We're looking for the 8th and the 9th. Which number is closest to 8 and 9 from that table?
7.
Right. So it has to be within that band. So it is in the 60 to 69 group. It is in the 60 to 69 group. Because remember, you're going to be grouping your data. So when you group your data, you're going to be able to see the information at a glance. Because the truth is, when you have your raw data, you're not going to be, it's just numbers that you're going to be seeing in front of you. But when you organize your data, you're going to be able to pick out a lot more than you would see in your raw data. So you can look at your data, you can say, oh, this is going to be the band in which my median is going to lie. And from what it is that we calculated with the n+1, and we ain't seen any more questions relation to this. So you'll understand a little bit better. All right. So I'm gonna be looking at my lower boundary, my lower class. My lower class in that is 60. And my upper boundary is going to be 69. So one of the things that we do for the lower boundary, we subtract 0.5. And for the upper boundary, we add a 0.5. So you notice I have the lower boundary L, uppercase L, to be equal to 59.5. That is going to be my lower class boundary. For the lower class boundary, we subtract 0.5 from it. The upper class boundary, we add 0.5 to it. So the lower class boundary, we subtract 0.5 from it. And the upper class boundary, we add 0.5 to it. And
so
again,
from this 59.5 and 69.5.
Very nice. But I thought the question was going to be, sir, why is it that you subtract 0.5 from the boundaries? And since you didn't ask the question, I'm asking the question. So look at the class boundaries that we have and check to see if you can just guesstimate, having done the presentation of data already, just look to see why you think that we subtract 0.5 from the lower boundary and we add 0.5 to the upper boundary.
So it has some for the midpoint?
Not the midpoint. Look again. Look at your class boundaries and look to see why you think we subtract 0.5 from the lower boundary and we add 0.5 to the upper boundary. After me.
Sir, is it something to do with you want them to not have any space between them? No way?
Asia, that's you?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Remember we talk about the Portmore houses then? Because the data is supposed to be continuous. So when I subtract 0.5, when I add 0.5 to 59, I'm going to get 59.5. Talk truth.
Yes, sir.
And when
Sir,
I add,
sir, so it's a histogram then?
Right. So I'm gonna get that sort of continuous data, right? So when I add 0.5, when I subtract 0.5 from my 60, I'm gonna get 59.5. So what is going to happen now? The upper boundary from the first class is going to kiss the lower boundary from the second class, don't it? You see that now?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And the upper boundary from the second class is going to kiss the lower boundary from the third class. 69 plus 0.5 is 69.5. And when I subtract 0.5 from 70, I'm going to get 69.5, don't?
69.5. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So the upper boundary is going to kiss the lower boundary of the next class. So we have your set of continuous data. All right. So now, so that explains my capital L, my uppercase L as 59.5. All right. So work with me. So recall, you're always going to subtract 0.5 from the lower class boundary, and you're going to add 0.5 to the upper class boundary. So what I try to do, when I prepare the notes, I try to spell it out so at least you can have a greater appreciation as to what we have dealing with. Watch me now. So there's going to be a formulation that you must know, and we're just going to plug the values in and work it out. When we did this exercise on Thursday last, we ended up at 69.5. And when we looked at this, the actual midpoint came out to be 69.5. So as I said before, it's just another method, grown-up method. This is calculating the median of a grouped data. So let's continue. So we know that n is equal to 16. We know that n is equal to 16. And we know that our group has a frequency of 7. We know that our group has a frequency of 7. And our B is 1. That is going to be the frequency. It's going to be the frequency before the group in question. So the group that we're looking at has a frequency of 7. This B is the B here is going to be the value before the group that we are looking at in question. So what we're looking at is a range 60 to 69. The frequency is 7. We are also interested in the group before. Remember, Asia said that, so it's like a histogram, and we have to take into consideration the thing that is next door there. Absolutely. What your neighbor does to their house affects you. Because if your neighbor decides that they are going to be drilling, they have to talk to you first, because you may have something hang up on your wall, and the mere fact that they're drilling is going to impede and impact your stuff, because it's going to drop off some stuff, or it may leave some holes, or it may interfere with your paint or something. All right. So you can't do things in isolation. It's not like you live, independently, where you can walk around your yard, but you doing your yard is your business. It's going to be a shared facility now. So I'm very interested in the value before my data that I'm interested in, my group data that I'm interested in. All right. So that's what your B is. And then your W is going to be the width of the group. So last class I asked you, what is the size of the width? Some people said 9, some people said 10. Can you now look at it? I'm telling you that it's now 10. 6 to 69 is actually a width of 10. Some people look at it and say, sir, it's 9. No, count it and see if you get 9 or 10.
10, because
The
0 would actually
59,
be, yeah.
the 59.5 to the is Michael you talking to, sir?
No, I'm talking to anybody. I want to hear the answer.
Oh, so I was saying, for me, I was saying the 59.5 to the 59.5 to the 69.5 would have given you the 10.
I just want you to tell me if you can see why it is 10.
That's how I see it, sir. From the lower boundary to the upper boundary, that would have given you the 10.
What say the others of you?
Sir,
I
once you
say
minus
10.
both of them, you get 10.
Really? 69 minus 60 is 10?
No, sir, meaning this 59 minus 0.5 minus is 69.5. You get 10.
Okay, so you're saying 69.5 minus 59.5 is equal to 10?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just remember that, please, that your boundary is going to be 10 in this year case. Some students use 9 and they run themselves into problems. Fair enough?
Sir, you know how it's not really mathematical. I just use grid reference, and so that's how I come up with the 10. So I always count the 0 as the 1, the beginning, and count onwards. So that's how I come up with the 10.
Am I allowed to interfere with your thinking just a little bit more?
Yes, that's the only way we can correct it.
All right. If you look at the decimal system, how many sets of numbers do we have in the decimal system? The system that we use now. Normally, you know, before then, they used to use the what do you call it now? The Roman numeral system. The decimal system. What decimal means, I should ask you.
A number less than 0.
A number less than 0. We not talk decimal point in a miss. So the decimal system. Decimal point, that would be correct, but what the decimal system? How many numbers are in the decimal system? I'm going to see how many of you are thinking tonight.
10.
Very good. There are 10 numbers in the decimal system. What 10 numbers?
0 to 9.
0 to 9.
0 to 9. Excellent.
Yeah.
So if you say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you end up using all 10 fingers. And if you want, if you want to get very specific, you say 8 fingers and 2 thumbs. Right? But yes. So the decimal system is out of 10. So decimal means out of 10. All right. So the decimal system has 10 numbers in it. The decimal system has 10 numbers in it from 0 to 9. So if you look at it another way, from 0 to 9 is going to be 10. From 0 to 9 is going to be 10. All right. So yes, the width is going to be 10. All right. So however you want to look at it, you can look at what I just explained. You can also look from the lower to the upper bound, and you can do your subtraction, and it gives you the width of the interval. All right. Now, to do the estimated median, look at what we're going to be doing. It's going to be L by 59.5 plus, and look at what we're talking about. It's going to be 16 over 2. Uh-oh. Where we get 16 over 2 from again? What is 16?
The N.
The N. Good. And where we get 2 from? The 2 is always going to be in the formula.
Equation. Yeah.
Right. The 2, very good. The 2 is going to be in the formula. And we're subtracting 1 from it. And it's going to be divided by the group number G in question. Can you put it up for me? In question. And then it's going to be times by 10. Then times it by 10. You're timesing it by the width of the interval. All right. Now, what I want. Go ahead, Papa.
Before I kind of got like based off of following the equation, like why was the +1 omitted
Minus
from
1?
the estimate? Yeah.
No, which one? You're talking about the +1 from up here?
Yeah, and then I'm looking at where the estimated median is now, and I just see the N over 2, but I'm not seeing the +1. Like,
right, because the +1 is just telling me where to look in the group data to find what it is, the group that I'm interested in. So the N+1 over 2 is giving me a pinpoint to say this is a particular range that I'm supposed to be using. It is giving me the range from which to select. Having selected that, I no longer need the n plus 1 over 2. I no longer need it. I no longer need it. All right? So here now, what we're going to be having, and I'm giving this to you because you need to know the formula. For the statistics, we have many different types of formulas. You may not even get a formula sheet in the exam. You have to put it to memory. All right, so let's go. It says it's going to be the 59.5. I want you to work this on the calculator, and I want you to tell me how it is that you are getting it. I have done the calculation. I have done the calculation. And you know, BOMDAS says you work the brackets first. So what I did was to say 16 divided by 2, and I got 8.
8. Mm-hmm.
And then I would say 8 minus 1, because the minus 1 is directly affecting the 16 over 2. Can you see that? Yes? No?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So 8 minus 1 over the 7, and it's times by 10. And then I'm continuing to work now. So BOMDAS also says multiplication and division before addition and subtraction. So I have to do my multiplication part first. When I'm doing the multiplication, it's going to be this 7 times this 10 over 7. One of two ways. You can either say 7 times 10 to give you 70 divided by 7, or you can say 7 divided by 7 is 1, and 1 times 10 is 10. So I'm going to have 10 here, and then I add that to my 59.5 to get my 69.5. Do me a favor. I'm going to ask you to take 2 minutes. 2 minutes to look at this calculation again. You can write your formula from here. Oh, and incidentally, this one is a B, minus B. So you're minus in the, so it won't always be 1. This B is, this minus 1 is going to be the value that precedes the group value, the group frequency that we're talking about. So if the group frequency up there was 6, it means that it will be minus 6.
B would
do
be
you
minus
understand
6. Yes, sir.
Right. Very good. Very good. So B will be 6, and you're subtracting 6 from it. All right. So take a minute to just try and digest this. And then I have more questions to give. And then we will look at the estimated mode. So it is that we can do the calculation thereafter. Right. So just take a minute or two and look back at this one. How it is that we are going to do the estimated mean. And then we can continue with our conversation. All right. Pausing for 2 minutes. Go ahead.
What you said B was again?
B is going to be the value before the group in question. So my group in question, I highlighted it here. So it's going to be this one up here.
So is that the frequency?
Right.
No.
Yes. All right. So take 2 minutes, just look at that and just try and digest it. Just try to understand it. If you have to make a little jotting so it is that you can recognize what it is that we're talking about, go ahead and do it. All right. I'm going to try and get some charge because my system is dying. Take 2 minutes and look at it.
One more question, sir. So is it that B is always used to make reference to the frequency before the group?
Absolutely. It's going to always be that value before. But it won't always be 1. Follow me? The value of B don't have to be 1. It could be any number. But it's always going to be the number before the frequency of the group that we're interested in. All right?
Yes, sir.
Good. How we feel, how we stay.
Sir, still working through it.
Okay, no problem. When you finish, holler at me, please.
All right.
All right, sir. All right. A formula could be L plus N over 2 minus bracket minus B over G times W. That could be the formula.
There you go. Right on the ball.
Remember it now.
Right on the ball. Right on the ball. Right on the ball.
All right, sir. So I worked through it and I got 69.5 for the answer.
Go on, teacher Asia.
Guys, I got kicked off here. Forgive me. Hello, are you hearing me? Michael, Tanika, Paz?
So you sound a
Yes,
little
sir. We're hearing it, but you're low.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm just saying that I got kicked off. I got kicked off. So I'm just trying to sort it out. Give me 2 seconds. I'll come in here.
Okay, sir.
All right, guys. So you would have seen what it is that I would have done with the data, how to go about the calculating it. Tell me that you feel comfortable now. Are we all here? Are we all hearing?
Yes, sir. We're hearing it.
Good job. Um, how we feeling now with regarding this stuff? We feel a little better. We think we can manage it. Think you can do your substitution and get your answer.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
But like if you could I get like some exercises to like practice? I don't
Pause.
know.
Remember, I said to you, I am only teaching you this, I
Mm.
have many questions from which to give you. So what I
Okay.
want you to understand up until 7 o'clock tonight is just the
Yes, sir.
basis of calculation. Don't worry
Okay, well,
about it.
understand, sir.
Yeah, man, following this class, I'm going to give you more questions and then we're going to do more calculations. So what it is that and this is why I'm taking my time. You notice I said to you earlier, just take your time and just try and go and see if you can understand the formulation. And then Michael came and gave a formulation and support and so on. Yeah, man. So yes, I will do that. My aim is just to give you enough information so that you can know how to do the calculation. Once you know how to do the calculation, then we can start working on the question. I just want you to be able to appreciate the formulation of the stuff. Having appreciated it, we can move on. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I have a question.
Go ahead, Papa.
Why you use the lower the lower, not the upper?
Okay.
Or either of them could be used.
All right, no. I will talk to you now. I'll talk to you now. I'll talk to you now. So now I'm going to look at the estimated mode. All right? The estimated mode.
If you're sharing, we're not seeing anything.
Oh, and you're right, because I am not sharing. So that's why you're not seeing. So you're seeing it now, right?
Yes, yes.
All right. So look at the estimated mode. Look at the estimated mode. So the lower class boundary is 60. So you recognize what is happening here now. The lower class boundary is 60 of the 60 to 69 group, right? So now you recognize that we are only concerned about the lower class boundary. The lower class boundary would be the upper boundary for the class, for the previous class, don't it?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. So this is it now. So we're doing the estimated mode. So given that L is equal to 60 from the lower class boundary, now we're going to have F subscript M minus 1, which is going to be the value for the group in question, as we did from before. And F subscript M is going to be the frequency of the group in question. So we're talking about the group in question, this 7, and the FM minus 1 is a group before it, this one. The group in question is 7. So these are they, and the FM plus 1 is going to be the group thereafter. Follow me?
Yes, sir.
So the F subscript M is the frequency of the group in question. So first, we need to be able to identify the group in question, what group it is that we are using. That's the first thing. We need to identify the group that we are using. The next thing that we're going to be doing is to look at the formulation. The formulation is going to be F subscript M minus 1, F subscript M, and F subscript M plus 1. So N minus 1 is a group before the boundary in question. F subscript M is going to be the group in question, and F subscript M plus 1 is going to be the group after the group in question. So we're investigating the group itself, above it, and below it. Does that make sense? Hello? Does that make sense?
Sir, you kind of lost me.
I kind of lost you?
Yeah.
All right, watch me. All right, watch me now. Look here. 174. Can you remember 174?
Yeah.
Look in
Yes,
the table
sir.
and tell me if you see 174.
Yes, sir, I see it.
Good. So this is a group. So up here says going to be my F subscript M minus 1, F subscript M, F subscript M plus 1. So my grouping question is what is shaded gray. And I'm going to investigate what is above it and what is beneath it. So if my grouping question is F subscript M, the group above it is going to be F subscript M minus 1. The group beneath it is going to be F subscript M plus 1. So what I'm saying to you is F subscript M minus 1 is a group above, F subscript M is a group in question, F subscript M plus 1 is a group after the group in question. Does that make sense now?
Following. Yes, sir.
All right, good. And W is a width. Do you still agree that the width is W?
Yes, sir.
W the width, which is equal to 10?
10, yeah. Yep.
All right, good. In this your case, the formulation, let me stop and ask the question one more time. Do you understand the 17410, where we get the 17410 again now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. So the estimated mode is going to be my 59.9, 59.5, which is my lower class boundary. It's going to be 7 minus 1. Watch me. It's going to be the grouping question minus a group up top. See it right up here. So all over the grouping question minus a group up top plus the grouping question minus a group beneath. So this is 7 minus 1, the grouping question minus a group above up here. So over the grouping question minus a group above, which is the same thing up here, plus the grouping question minus a group beneath. So what it is that I'm doing, I'm subtracting the group from above the grouping question, and I'm subtracting the group beneath the grouping question, and I'm going to be adding the sum down here. So 7 minus 1 is 6. And of course, the same 6 going to be here, and 7 minus 4, the group beneath the grouping question is going to be 3. So I'm going to have 6 plus 3, which is going to be equal to 9. And 6 times 10 is 60 over 9. When I do this evaluation, I'm going to get a value that when I add to 59.5, I'm going to get 66.16. Do me a favor. I'm going to give you, I'm just trying to reduce it. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to look at that. Then we're going to wrap up this. And then I'm going to find some questions and give to you. Maybe not necessarily in class, because I really want to get this understanding. So look at that and tell me if you feel comfortable enough with it. So take 3 minutes and I'll be back within another 3. Give me a few, please. All right, guys, how are you? Any questions?
No question from me.
So one of the things that I want you to do is to put this formulation, hedge it somewhere in your headspace.
Sorry, sir. I'm struggling here. I'm not sure if it's me alone. I can hardly hear.
Are you hearing me better now?
Yeah, a little bit on, yeah.
All right, sorry about that, Papa. What I want you to do, I want you to hedge this calculation into your headspace. It's really not difficult. It's just a new set of formulas. And just think back to when you were doing with Mrs. Saul Francis over the summer, pre-calculus. And she started giving you these different formulations. The many different formulations, the whole heap of formulas for indices, you have to remember. The whole heap of formula for the sequence and series, you have to remember. Pascals, for remember, and all of those stuff. But you guys survived. This is what now we need to remember. So we need to remember these formulations. A question on measures of central tendency is a must-have on the exam. You already know how to calculate it for the ungrouped data. You add them up, you divide them up, support and so on, but that can be the school something. They're not gonna give that. What they may do is to give you the raw data and ask you to group the data. As I said before, don't worry about you not knowing how to group the data. They may also give you the data already grouped and ask you to calculate the measures of central tendency. Or they may say calculate the mean, calculate the mode, or calculate the median. You know what to do, but guess what? Before you can do what you need to do, you have to look at what it is that we've done, recognizing that we're using the lower boundary, and recognizing also that we have two different formulas to estimate the mean and the mode. So we're saying that the mean is 66.1. The estimated mean is 66.1. So it means that that value is occurring pretty often. If you look at your data, you'll recognize from the data that most of the values lie between 60 and 69. Can you agree with that? We have 7 values that lie between 60 and 69.
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, when we're looking at that, if we are looking at the mean is a value that occurs most frequently. Which value in here is a repeat value? How many repeat values do we have in the 60s? Let us look at all the 60s. 65, 64, 66, 63, 63, 62, 61. So the actual mean, the actual mode is the number that occurs most frequently. You can have more than one mode, you can have one mode, or you can have no mode. You can have more than one mode, you can have no mode, or you can just have one mode. The mode from this data is
63.
63. The actual mode is 63. But when we calculate in the estimated mode is coming out to be 66.16. But that is fine. It is estimated. But it lies between, that 63 lies in this range, don't? And the 66 also lies here. So that is going to be the estimated. That's going to be the estimated mode. All right. So in a nutshell, that's what it is that we've done. We're able to calculate the estimated mean, and these are all estimations. We're able to calculate the estimated mean, we're able to calculate the estimated mode, and we're able to calculate the estimated median. The estimated mean, the estimated mode, the estimated median. Now, one of the things that I would want you to do for me is to ensure that you can reproduce something like this if asked of you. If asked of you, you should be able to estimate all of that. What I'm going to be doing, maybe not to do in class now, I'll just take any questions you have and we'll call it an evening. But for sure, what I'm going to be doing shortly thereafter is to send you some questions so it is that you can do some practice on it. You don't have a class after this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Rockstone. All right. So I'll give you. Oh, you have a class at 7:30 or 7 o'clock. Which one?
Suppose it's 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right, no problem. All right. So I'm gonna give you a little time so you can go and refresh your self-support and so on. I'm gonna send you the information, some calculations to do. Question. Do you want me to send you the questions just as that, or you want me to send you the questions with the answers?
I prefer without the answers and then
Without the answers, and then we
um
can discuss it thereafter. All right. So I'm
yeah.
going to send you the questions. I'm going to send a few questions. I'm going to ask that you attempt all of the questions, and then I'm going to also ask that you log on to Editcosoft and start reading your Unit 1. Remember, I said to you, Unit 1 is a lot of reading. Please start reading your Unit 1, because technically, when you read off your Unit 1 on your own, and I wrap up Unit 2, we've gone through 2 chapters already. All right, so I'm going to ask that you read up your Unit 1 for me, please, in the meantime. So what you can do, and also you can go on to Editco to find additional questions on these. I'm going to give you some questions tonight outside of Editco, but I also want to log on to Editco so you can get some questions sorted out. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
All right, big up yourself. All the best.
Bye, sir.
Bye-bye.
Eh,
Mhm.